The strong to severe storms are now moving through from central Florida up through the Carolinas. You can see a little severe thunderstorm warning at this hour. Look at
morning
video
and night.
I'm not standing outside because I can't. The storm is moving north of us. That little house that we were talking about has gone.
You'll find her on ABC News covering the biggest stories about the force of nature.
And Ginger Zee was on the air. She was reporting about the power of the surge.
I just saw something I have never seen in real life. I saw an entire home taken off of its foundation and rolled down the street. We just watched that happen in real time. And I'll tell you right now, it makes you shake.
Ginger Zee's passion for storm chasing started when she was a kid. Back then, she never thought she'd end up on TV as a meteorologist.
I had seen people on TV, did not want to do that, because that's terrible. And until I saw a movie, Twister, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So then I saw Helen Hunt standing on top of this vehicle, and I was like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to chase tornadoes.
45-minute boat ride, and now we are going to hike 20 minutes to Jellyfish Lake.
Today, she chases all kinds of weather.
This is a region in France that has just been tortured by epic wildfires.
Ginger also heads up the network's climate unit.
Yes, the climate has always changed. Yeah, naturally. It has never changed this quickly over such a short amount of time.
The extreme wind warning has extended, now includes Lake City. You can see some of the others.
Every time I pull into Times Square, this little girl from West Michigan is like, what is happening? How did this happen? And then I'm sitting next to Robin Roberts, just this legend of television and sports, Michael Strahan, which we've had a lot of fun times talking about how little I knew about his career prior to working with him, because I wasn't really a football fan. I was like, so what brings you here? Just like, I'm in the Hall of Fame of football. And George, you know, like this powerful political mind, and so I'm the luckiest gal out there. Yeah, and really to be the first female chief at a network is huge. My New Hampshire experiences have been almost all Mount Washington. Woo! I wonder why. Woohoo! The Weather Observatory there is of great fascination for myself and my team.
I'm in Weather Nerd heaven.
I'm so glad to be here in the fresh air, because this is how I started this morning. This was actually this morning. That's Manhattan.
Hours after reporting on air quality warnings caused by the Canadian wildfires, Ginger returned to the Granite State and its ever-changing weather.
What have you heard from people? Oh dear, it's going to rain on us.
Yeah. Do you want to move under the...
We should probably move under.
This is how I like to do it. I like to bring in the rain, because you got to remember that it varies all the time. It's just like our emotions. All right, this is the moment.
She came to the Atkinson Country Club not to talk about storms she's covered, but storms she's weathered. Ginger has shared her mental health journey in 2 books. Her latest is a little closer to home.
My first book was called Natural Disaster, and I can't tell you the number of people that are like, I'm a natural disaster too. I'm like, I know, that's the point. My whole life had been about perfection. You know, I grew up in a time we didn't have Instagram, so I'm not going to blame that on social media, but just my personality, a lot of us grow up and we just don't want someone to think something bad of us. That would be the worst thing that could happen.
After struggling with mental health challenges for years, she's hoping to help others by opening up about her very personal story.
10 days before I started my job at ABC, I checked myself into Columbia's psych ward, and I stayed for almost a week.
Ginger had had 2 suicide attempts. So when feelings of hopelessness returned, her cousin urged her to go to the hospital.
And I did. I started having those feelings again. You can't control when that happens, whether it's 2 weeks before the job that you've always wanted. And on top of that, I was in a really abusive relationship. I was afraid of myself, and I was afraid of him. And I called her, and I said, this is what's happening. And she said, it's time. You have to go to the hospital. You need that help. This is the problem, especially with mental health care. I did not think that I needed that type of help. We all don't think, I don't need to go to the hospital. I don't know what that's for, but it's not for me. That inpatient stay is where everything turned around. That's where I got my correct diagnosis and where I started getting the type of therapy that I needed. I wanted people to know that when I got there, not only did I need that help, but they kept me for 5-6 days because I needed that much help. And speaking of stigma and reducing it, I think we're getting there, right? I think that people openly say now, I have depression, I have anxiety, I go to therapy. That's much better than where we were. When eyebrows start to raise is when we hear of other types of diagnoses and other types of help. Like when I checked myself into a mental health hospital. Usually that gets a couple, ooh, like what was wrong? And that's why I want to be here and talk about it. My favorite emails, and there have been so many, have a subject that say, "You saved my life." That I didn't expect. I'd love to see mental health get to the place where it's like drug and alcohol rehab. When someone goes to alcohol rehabilitation, we say, good for them. You know, they're gone for a week or two or a month. Good for them. What we need to work on now is being better team members and societally lifting each other up, because there a lot of people will say, I have depression or I have anxiety, and we're like, oh man, that sucks. I hope you're getting help. And then it stops there. What if that person's leg was shattered? Would you say, oh man, that sucks. I wish you could, get some help? No, you'd take them to the hospital. That person's not in the condition to go get help. And those were the kind of lessons I had learned and the responsibility I felt that I wanted to pass along.
She wishes people would pay as much attention to their mental health as they do their physical health.
I would love to see mental health be number one. Because if your mental is right, your physical comes along with it. And so I have done that in my life. I spend the most time, the most money, the most effort on putting my mental health first. I won't miss that personal trainer of my brain, my therapist, unless it's absolutely necessary.
There is damage as far as our eyes can see.
This meteorologist wants people to know on those dark, cloudy days that the sun will always return.
That's what I'm proud of, is not necessarily one action or another. It's that I can tell myself, you were imperfect, and now I can tell you, I'm imperfect. And in that, I'm perfect.